Hi, I'm Mike Marino, and this is a brand new episode of Live from My Mother's Basement. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Live from My Mother's Basement. I'm so happy to actually be in the basement for this podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show a rock and roll icon who happens to be from the whole Jersey scene from back in the day. He's here with me right now. This is Wayne B. Olivieri.
Hello.
Did I say it right?
Yeah, perfect.
Olivieri.
Olivieri.
Some people
Olive and Eri.
Yeah, well, it's nice. It's Italian. I should know how to say it. But some people might say Olivieri.
Or Olivieri.
How do you say it?
Olivieri. Exactly
Olivieri.
the way you said it. You did it good.
Yeah, I did good.
You done good.
I done good.
You done
I done good. Wayne came down to the basement, and I immediately see a T-shirt from CBGB.
That's right.
If you're in the music world, or even if you're not, you should be familiar with what it is. But it's a rock and roll bar in the city, or Manhattan, if you're not from the area. You do realize we say city, but you go to California, people are like, what do you mean? What that? Well, New York.
Right, yeah. Something this big has been going to the city.
I don't even know how that started.
I don't either. I don't know. Maybe city?
Because I remember when we were kids, people were
question.
like, "Oh, you going to the city?
Going into the city.
Oh, watch out!
Yeah.
The city's crazy."
Back in the 70s, especially.
Right? Now you say you're going into the city, people kind of like, "Yeah, you got to go through the tunnel."
The tunnel horrors.
Right?
Horrible.
Let's rewind here. We got a really cool ass book, and we got a lot of cool stories that are going to come from this man. How did we even meet?
We met through Lucille.
Oh, okay, that's right.
That's right.
All right, she's a comedian. She lives in Florida. Very funny comedian. Nice lady. She's from this area. She's from here.
From Plainfield.
Plainfield. We're in Scotch Plains right now, which are two cities that are very close to each other. If you could say cities, they're towns. Yeah. And so is that where you're from?
Yeah, I was born and raised Plainfield. Plainfield, North Plainfield, and then,
South Plainfield.
Zipped around the world and came right back to Plainfield at the end.
Is that right?
All full circle, yeah.
Sounds like exactly me.
It's crazy.
Scotch Plains, travel, and I'm home.
There
I'm going home.
Yeah, Lucille is my girlfriend's 12 years now, best friend, one of her best friends.
Is that right?
That's how we got to know it. That's how Lucille was very cool. She hooked me up with some acting stuff because she's doing some acting too.
Yeah,
down there. But she's told me that she knew you real well and you had a podcast and blah, blah, blah. And it was funny when she called me, which was a couple of weeks ago when I first talked to you. I had just came home the night before from seeing you, and we've never known each other at all. It was a fundraiser for Jon Bramnick, yeah.
Oh, wow.
At the comedy club over in the
Stress
Factory, yeah. So I was like, I just saw him.
So you didn't even know me until after the Stress Factory,
right.
And then she called.
Yeah.
What a crazy small world how this shit happens,
it is.
man.
It's nuts. And I go, oh my God, I saw that guy. And then,
that is
bada
so
bing,
cool.
bada boom, here we are.
And now here you are in the basement. You can't get out. Everybody who's from Plainfield, Scotch Plains, Westfield, we leave, but we come back because this is the place to be.
Just when you think you're out,
they bring you back in. Plainfield has three sections. There's North Plainfield, South Plainfield, and Plainfield.
Yep.
I never really knew the difference between the three other than this saying, be careful of that area.
It happens all the time. Plainfield was, for those of you who didn't know, back in the 60s, it was a super bustling city. They call it the Queen City, right?
Really?
But then they had massive race riots, like in 69, I think it was. And then the whole thing went down and it started building back up and never really quite got back to where it was. But North Plainfield is on the outskirts and so is South Plainfield, and Plainfield's in the center. But
which is the area that's not so nice?
I guess you go down to like East or
well,
West
I know,
2nd
is that
Street
considered
like that?
Plainfield?
Yeah, Plainfield. Yeah, South Plainfield, North Plainfield. Plainfield's got some great like historic districts and stuff. So you'd be surprised. Plainfield's got some really nice sections and some not so nice sections, just like any other city.
Well, I went to a school over in Plainfield back in the day. Grarf. No, not Grarf. That was the name of that school. Shit, now I'm going to forget. There was a production company that made movies in there. It was a school for the performing arts.
No kidding.
In Plainfield.
I didn't know that.
but even painting art, that type of an art.
Okay. Oh, Ducray?
Ducray School of the Arts.
There you go.
Yes.
Ducray.
That's where I went.
Believe it or not, that school is still there.
Is it?
And it's still doing art stuff, and we did a lot of our videos there. We filmed a lot of our videos there.
That is really cool. Yeah. I'm glad to hear about that. Yeah. It's actually in like a house.
It's a giant
old mansion. It was a mansion back in the day.
Yep.
Look this up, guys. Check out some historical landmarks.
Ducret, I think it's spelled.
The Ducray School for the Performing Arts. I went in there, was taking classes. They had an acting program in there.
That's too funny, man.
Right?
Yeah.
And then there was a guy in there. His name was Ralph Davis, and he was making movies and teaching the kids how to make movies. So the first role I ever had in a movie was called Richie. It was a study in child abuse, and I played the leading role of Richie. I was 15 years old.
Wow, you were getting abused?
Well, in the movie, yeah.
And the school's still there. It's so funny. We do the new Bardot's my band. It's in the book. We do all of our most of our videos there. They got a really cool. If anybody ever needs any kind of facility, you should look into Ducray.
In Plainfield alone, there are some houses that probably date back to, I would say, 1700, maybe 1600.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And there's these mansions that were built, I don't know, before they had heating units.
Oh yeah,
that are just beautiful.
I live in a carriage house, an 1892 carriage house, which is a carriage house for the mansion on the corner of the Coryell Mansion. We're in a historic district called Van Wyck Brooks. They got the Sleepy Hollow, which is super mansions and stuff. Plainfield's a very diverse city. It's very cool. Very cool.
Carriage house, which means like back in the day, the horse and buggy came and picked up somebody.
Yep, a lot of horses.
It was called a 1776 Uber.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Call an Uber.
Yeah.
Uber.
They got these rocks on the side where the doors were to go in. They're like rounded, so when the carriage would come in, it would hit the rock like that, so it would go straight and get in.
Imagine that.
Really interesting stuff. You got to come by some.
Ingenuity.
Yankee ingenuity. I was born and raised in Plainfield, and I went to St. Mary's School right over in 6th Street. Went to the Catholic school with the nuns, the whole deal, back in the day when they were allowed to smack you around.
Yeah.
You know, like, what are you doing? But I sang in the St. Mary's Boys Choir. That's where I learned how to sing. And the St. Mary's Boys Choir is where I got my love for entertainment.
Where was St. Mary's?
It's over on 6th Street, in between 6th and I think I want to say 7th.
So it was a Catholic school.
Catholic, still there.
Still there?
Yep.
Still a school?
No, it's a church.
Jail.
It's a jail now.
St. Mary's Prison.
It's all Hispanic now. It kind of turned. It used to be all Italian, Polish, and then it just kind of went all Hispanic. But you know, they do all the masses in Spanish and stuff.
When I hear him say St. Mary, I immediately just started thinking, is it Mount St. Mary's on 22? Is that Watchung?
Yeah, on the top of the mountain.
Right.
Yeah. It's Terrell Road, right? You go straight up. Was it Terrell
It's the
Road?
extension of Terrell Road. Yeah. It goes up into the cliffs.
It's an all-girls school.
It's an all-girls school. And it was kind of creepy in a way because when you drive by, you're like, oh, what's up there?
Well, when we were younger.
They kill people up there.
We used to want to go up there when we were younger.
Didn't everybody?
Hit on the girls, you know?
It's an all-girls school. We got to break in somehow and meet some of these girls. They're probably dying to meet men.
Yeah. They need men. That was funny. There was a lot of stuff going on in back in those days. There was a little guy. I don't know if you remember this. It's called Grillo's Italian Ice. You remember him?
Oh yeah.
The guy had a stand. It was a little stand about as big as where we are right here, right? And a little window, and you go in, and he was there for freaking years.
Yeah,
years and years, and it was the best Italian ice ever.
Here's a trivia.
All right.
Well, it's not really a trivia. I'm going to say, what's your favorite flavor in Italian ice?
Oh.
But there was some flavors that nobody ever even heard of. Oh. So what was your favorite flavor?
I'm a straight up lemon, man.
Lemon?
I'm a lemon, yeah.
I remember it always being so difficult because you were only going to get one. And you got to make a choice.
Yeah.
And then you could have 2 scoops, 1 lemon, 1 chocolate.
Yep.
Chocolate was fantastic. Lemon was the best.
Yep.
Cherry. Yeah. But there was a flavor that not a lot of those Italian ice places had, and you had to have known that he had it. It was very specific to lemon ice. We called it lemon ice, not Italian ice, lemon ice.
Right, okay.
So do you remember what it was?
I'm going to guess pistachio.
Pistachio was badass.
Yeah.
That was badass, but Yum Yum.
Yum Yum.
Do you remember Yum Yum?
No.
It was a flavor. I don't know. Maybe they created it.
Did he have it there?
Maybe they scraped the bottom of 4 different flavors and said, all right, just put that together. But it was Yum Yum.
That's too funny.
It was like a cross between, I want to say, lemon ice and taffy.
Oh, kidding. Okay.
Yum Yum.
That's interesting. Because I know every day he would have like a little sign, a handwritten sign, like you only had like 3 flavors each day or something.
Yeah.
So you'd have to go by and figure out like, what's he got today? You know, I go, okay, the lemon's always there.
Chocolate.
Chocolate was good.
And it was in this white cup, like a Dixie cup, but it folded. It was like a cup that you found at the doctor's or the dentist's office, and
exactly. The dentist that you wash your mouth out with. Yeah, that was it.
You wash your mouth out with that little thing. It's not there anymore. Now we got a Dixie cup.
Yeah, I know.
But it was this white cup that when you were done, for some reason or other, everybody seemed to squish it. So you got the last drop, and then you ate it.
You rolled it up almost.
You kind of like ate
a
it.
Joint. You know?
Yeah. Remember you used to eat it just to get that last fucking drop because you're a jerk, quite honestly.
All of your hands.
There was something else we used to bite until it was just completely gone.
Oh, God.
It was plastic, not plastic. I mean, I'm really going to date myself now,
boy.
but you remember when you would go to a candy store and inside the plastic was a flavor.
Goop, just like some kind of
and you ate it.
Syrup. Yeah, it looked like a tube.
Remember fake lips?
Oh, yeah.
And you just ate it.
Yeah, just
and then after a while, it was like, what the fuck am I doing? This is garbage.
You had that, and it came in like a tube. You know, like those tubes that they shake to lights up? It looked like that.
Yeah.
And you chomped on it, and you sucked out the stuff. And
you sucked on it.
Yeah.
It was like a let's say there was grape in there, and it was very high in sugar. But for some reason or other, once you were done sucking out the juice, you chewed on this plastic.
It was like waxy.
Wax, that's what it was. It was wax.
Yeah, it was all wax. Yeah.
Wax. Man, I wish I was a fucking
That's almost
kid.
back in the Pixie Stick days. Remember
Pixie Sticks. Remember choking on that shit?
You pour the whole thing out, and then you suck it in.
Pixie Sticks had 2 sizes. There was the big one for the assholes, and there was the thin little one.
Yeah.
But no matter what you did when you were a kid and you got that Pixie Stick and you dumped it in your mouth, you choked. You're like,
It's true.
And then when you were done choking, like, isn't that good?
Do it again. How about the giant, what was those things called? They were big. They had little ones, but they made a big one. It was Sweet Tarts. Remember the giant Sweet Tarts? They're like that big.
I mean, we could talk about this for a long time because I don't know if you saw the other day, but I was talking about the Chips Ahoy chocolate chip cookies.
Oh, yeah.
And when I was done with this particular show that I did over the weekend, I was high. I was high on my life, my career, and I just wanted I wanted to celebrate in a weird way. So I dropped a gummy. I went to the store and I bought a box of Chips Ahoy chocolate chip cookies.
The best.
And I'm thinking, you remember these things? They were so good. You would dunk them in your milk.
Oh, yeah.
Remember you had a glass of milk, you put one little ice in it, you kept it nice and cold. So I went and bought them. And I opened it up, and I'm like, not only is the box a light blue, not a dark blue, the cookies was garbage. It was shit. It was absolute garbage.
No.
Tasted like shit. And I mentioned it to a friend, and I mentioned it on my social media, and I says, I can't believe this. This is garbage.
They changed the recipe.
They changed the recipe. Somebody told me it's not even real. It's fake.
They want to make it cheaper, man.
Well, they made it cheaper, man. They saved money on the blue coloring, and they saved a lot of money on
flavor, on the real ingredients. Probably was the real chocolate. Was there real chocolate in the chips at least?
No. It just was not a chocolate chip cookie.
What's this world coming to, man?
An end.
Isn't
it disgusting?
It's not good. It's not good at all. But we're here. We're still around. That's a good thing. Hey, I was going to get back to the CBGB thing. It's where I first started.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're going to get on the ride with everything. So we got started with him on being from Plainfield, New Jersey. And we're going to get into it from there. We just went off track because we have memories of the good old days.
I could be here all day with that one.
Yeah, I know. Twinkies and tasty cake. And You know what it is? I'm hungry. All right. So, how old were you when you said, you know what, I want to be in the music business?
I
'Cause
think
you still got the rock and roller look.
Yeah, thanks. I was probably 6 years old. Whenever the Beatles came on the Ed Sullivan Show, that's when I knew what I wanted to do. I swear to God. It was like me and my older brother grabbed a couple of mops. We were jumping around. They were it had to have been, what, 1964,
What do you
something
mean
like that?
to say people don't know who the Beatles are?
That's scary.
Isn't that whack?
It really makes you feel old.
They don't know. Yeah, it makes you feel old, but it also makes you feel like going, there were guys who actually wrote lyrics to songs that made you think.
Yeah, for sure. Now
They had harmonizing.
the harmonies, everything. Hey, look, they were great. They changed the whole everything. They start, as far as I'm concerned, that rock and roll started with the Beatles. So I know it was people argue Elvis and other people, but the Beatles, man, they just did something. I don't know what it was, but they just turned on the light. You know what I mean? And it just went on from there. It's incredible.
The Beatles. All right, so you're watching the Beatles and you're like, you know what, I want to be them.
Yep. And then my mother said, "You want to sing?" She goes, "Join the choir." So fourth grade. I remember a couple of years later, fourth grade, I got into a choir, St. Mary's Boys Choir. Mr. Rademacher, my choir master, he was that old school dude that would like smack you on the hand if you didn't get the note right. And he taught us how to sing. We sang at the church every 11 o'clock mass. And I thought that was cool. We had these robes.
Wait a minute, what church?
St. Mary's.
Oh,
St. Mary's.
Yeah, I went to St. Bart's over here in
Oh, you
Scotch
did?
Plains.
Okay, yeah. St. Mary's Boys Choir, and this guy was serious choir shit, man. I mean, we a Hallelujah chorus, we kicked ass. I mean, nobody touched us. We were like, we sang at the World's Fair. I got picked to sing with the Vienna Boys Choir. I was hooked. I was like, I like show business, man. And this guy would throw like a show, every year, like in the auditorium, and we get to put makeup on and do all this stuff. And I was like, I love show business. This is what I want to do. And from that moment on, seventh grade, I started my first band, and we went on from there.
What was your instrument?
I sang. I was a singer.
Oh, you wanted to be the lead singer,
I was the
man,
lead
the
singer,
star.
yeah. A little thinner,
Yeah.
But
did you ever want to be a stand-up comic? And the reason why I say that is because so many lead singers want to be comedians, and so many comedians wish they were the lead singer in a rock band.
Well, I'll tell you, I always wanted to dabble in what you do.
See?
And always. And I had an opportunity. I'll tell you a quick story. Mutual friend, Gary Delana, okay, is a comedian guy. I'm involved with the Plainfield Animal Shelter. So we were trying to raise some money. We were doing a fundraiser. It was right where COVID was around. So Gary wasn't working. So he needed, he said, I'll help you out. I'll do it. So he did a comedy show. We went outside and we put people 6 feet apart and all that crap that was going on. And he goes, "Why don't you MC the show?" And I go, "Yeah, I'll get a chance to be a comedian." Let me tell you, folks, it's hard. It's not easy. Even doing like 5 minutes is really hard. I got heckled by my girlfriend. That's how bad I was. She's like, "Get off the stage."
I always say friends and family are the worst audience, man.
It's hard, man. So that's the only time I did it, and I'll probably never do it again. But
let's do a shout out to one of the most legendary comedians coming out of the Jersey Shore, Gary Delana. Gary Delana, when I was coming up, when I first started telling jokes, was a major headliner throughout the state of New Jersey and New York City. And he used to do this thing. He'd go, yes. And he played the guitar. He did parodies. Unbelievable. He's still out there working to this day.
Yeah.
I know he has a deal with a couple of cruise lines and stuff like that. But Gary was my idol. I remember I opened for him a bunch of times, and I'm like, look at this guy. I want to be like him someday.
Really? That's interesting. It's funny because I talked to him not too long ago, and I mentioned right after we talked.
Yeah.
I called him, and I said, "Hey, and she's like, oh, tell him I said hi."
We've got to get Gary to come over and come down the basement.
Yeah, he'd do it.
All right, so that's cool.
And then, went on from there, get back to the CBGB's thing. When I get a little older, a funny story about high school, right? My mother, you could probably relate to this. My mother wanted me to get a job, like a real job. So right out of high school, my bass player I was playing with was with this company called Eastco Corporation over in Union, and they needed a draftsman. And I said, his name's Artie. I said, "Artie, I failed mechanical drawing twice. How am I?" He goes, "Just print real neat on the application. They'll hire you, I promise." So I did, and I got hired. I had no idea what I'm doing. I'm on a drafting table with all these things. Luckily, he came down and he was showing me how to do. So every day I would go to work in a shirt and a tie. My mother was all proud of me and everything. And my buddy Gar said to me, hey, let's quit our jobs, go on unemployment and start a rock band. So I'm like, okay. So for 2.5 months, I pretended that I went to work every day because I couldn't tell my mother. I felt
Oh, wow.
I was horrible.
Yeah.
When she found out.
I'm a nice Italian liar. I'm a liar. What's your favorite?
Like, but you had such a good job. What are you doing? And, so we started an all original band. And the book that I wrote is kind of like, tells you, and I'm sure you got a book in you too. It's from start to where you are now. You know what I mean? And all the shit that you had to go through, and all the bullshit, and all the people stabbing in the back, and the lies, and the partying too much, and all that crap. That's all in the book. And part of it was, I got to meet Jon Bon Jovi back before he was a star, and I became really good friends with him for like 17 years. So I got like a lot of like amazing stories that had gone down when he started, getting real famous.
Well, let's do this because we'll bring everybody up to speed from you being in the 7th grade and starting a real band with your own music.
10 hours.
So you wrote your own music, huh?
Yeah, we started out doing all original stuff back in, I guess, right out of high school. And I took the bus to New York, went to CBGB's because at the time they just opened up, and I heard it was a good club for original music. Because Jersey, I think 73 or 74, they changed the drinking age to 18. Okay. And there was a bar on every corner, man. I mean, there was bands all over the place, but it was all copy stuff. It was all top 40. It did no original. So I went to New York. I walked into CBGB's and it was disgusting. It was dirty. I don't know if you've ever been in there, but it was disgusting. I walked in. This guy with a beer comes out. I told him who I was. Like, yeah, Monday night, come on down and do an audition. Monday night, you can come audition night. So the band pulls into New York. We're stepping over bums to get into the place or loading equipment. We get on the stage, That night, that particular Monday night was audition night. Nobody that I'm about to mention had a record deal. They were just like us. They were almost brand new, just starting. It was my band called the Rock Kids, a band called Blondie, a band called Talking Heads, and a band called The Shirts. All these bands, and then eventually we played the Monday night audition. We got a gig. We started playing there regularly, and we played with the Ramones for the first time ever before they were famous. And we had no idea what was going on. I mean, all these kids are coming into this club with like, their hair's all weird and the leather jackets, and then the Ramones get on stage and 1, 2, 3, 4 with this wall of sound. It was just like, it blew our minds. We were like, what is this? But we held our own. We were like that rock and roll band from Jersey. We just straight ahead rock, So we got Blondie was cool. Deborah Harry got off the stage. We had a couple of drinks. She was like, I really like a band. But the Ramones, funny story, they came off real heavy, right? Like they're, tough guys. My guitar player goes, watch this. They ain't so heavy. He puts his arm out like this, and Joey Ramone comes walking by, and he had my buddy had his arm out, and he stopped, and he went, oh, excuse me, and he went around, and he goes, it ain't so tough, But the thing that karma is, 3 years later, when I'm doing a Jersey circuit, I'm on stage doing Ramone songs. So it came back to bite me in the ass.
The Ramones, I guess they were originally from New York. I thought they were from another.
They're New York.
Yeah?
Yeah.
The Ramones.
Yep.
There was a famous guy came out of this town, Scotch Plains, too. They named a street after him. Mm-hmm. He's no longer with us, and he was in a pretty famous band that had a lot of hits, too. So I'm drawing a blank.
Pat Denizio.
Pat Denizio.
Yeah, good buddy.
And what band was that?
Smithereens.
The Smithereens.
Yeah,
the Smithereens.
I'll tell you, Pat Denizio, when I was in a band called Circus, it's all in the book, folks. He came down and he auditioned to play guitar when we were just right out of high school, and he got in the band. And it was me, Pat Denizio, my friend Gar, and Mark Baxter, and another guy. And we did a couple band battles, and we came in first place. And to the day he died, I was with Pat about a week before he passed away over at the Crossroads. He was doing a show.
Yeah.
And he calls me on stage, and we did a couple Beatles songs together. And he passed away like a week later, which was really bizarre. But Pat never forgot me, good guy. I mean, and the Smithereens folks, I don't know, they got real big. And his dad was Scotch Plains Garbage. He owned the garbage company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Denizio
How you doing?
owns garbage. Go figure.
How
Yeah.
you doing?
I met his mother a lot of times, and then they ended up selling the house, and then they took the house down. But
Yeah, I saw that.
there was relics of his life all around that house that probably were worth millions of dollars.
Yeah.
I think they should have went in there with like a Celebes and said it.
They should
sold
have.
his stuff. I don't know what happened with all of that, but yeah, he's a rock legend. He's from this town. But getting back to you, what was the name of your band?
It was back then. It was called the Rock Kids. R-O-C-K-I-D-S.
The Rock Kids.
Rock Kids.
How long did you keep the Rock Kids?
Rock Kids went from 1975 to about 82.
Yeah.
And 75 to 75, 76, 77, we were strictly New York. We were doing Max's Kansas City, CBGB's, Limelight, all that stuff, all those clubs.
So that everybody who's watching knows, CBGB's in New York was a famous rock and roll club like the Whiskey in Los Angeles, let's say.
Yeah.
The Whiskey in Los Angeles on the Sunset Strip next to the Rainbow Room and the Comedy Store. These are places where rock legends were born and people who went there just trying and never succeeded. The same club would be in New York City would be CBGB.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
That was
CBGBs.
like the
They made a movie about CBGBs.
Oh, did they?
They did. It's I think it's called CBGB Umfug or something. UMFUG. I don't know what that stands for, but that's what it used to have after the CBGBs or underneath it.
Is CBGB still in existence?
No.
No.
They close up. But they do have a museum. I forget where, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I think they have a CBGB museum where they recreated the inside of the club.
Wow. What did CBGB stand for? Anybody know?
Yeah, country, bluegrass, CBG, and blues. Country, bluegrass, blues.
No shit.
Yeah, that's what it stands for.
Must have been cool to go in there and just
It was interesting.
smell the dirt.
And they had a dog running around, and he used to take a shit on the floor. It was horrible, but it was a classic place. I mean, people just
It was around for a long time. When did they go out of business?
I think maybe 10 years ago. Something
Really?
like that. Yeah.
So it didn't lose it that long ago.
No.
Yeah, so that's a 50-year run probably.
It was a good run. Good run for that place. There was also, remember Max's Kansas City? That was another big one.
You mentioned Limelight. Wasn't Limelight just a dance club?
I meant the Limelight was in it was in a church.
Yeah.
And there was another one. What was the name of the other place? I forgot. There's a couple of them down there. There was like, remember?
I didn't know bands played at Limelight. I thought Limelight was just to go dancing.
You know what?
Do coke.
Maybe it was. I don't know. Back then. I don't remember too much stuff. I know we played everywhere, but.
Well, I thought you were part of, or probably going to tell me, the Asbury Park rock and roll scene.
I was.
Which is super famous.
I was. What
right.
happened with me was, which is one of the reasons why I wrote the book, is because I was blessed or lucky or whatever you want to call it enough to be able to be in two scenes that were really the history of rock and roll. One was the New York City scene from CBGB's days. In 1981, I moved to Asbury Park. And all of a sudden, I'm in Asbury Park, and this other scene's starting to happen. This Bruce Springsteen, Southside Johnny, and a totally different kind of music. Music. It's like the rock versus the Jersey Shore sound, And I wasn't.
It is different, isn't it?
It's totally different, and I wasn't familiar with the Jersey Shore sound because I was from up here. I was more of a heavy metal guy,
right?
So I went down there. I never liked Bruce Springsteen. I thought I honestly didn't like him at all, but. Living there, and my girlfriend at the time was a bartender at the Stone Pony. Now, the Stone Pony, for people that don't know, is another club that's internationally known. So
that's right. The Stone Pony is where a lot of rock legends come from too, which still exists in Asbury Park, New Jersey. Asbury Park, again, like Plainfield, had the race riots in the 60s.
Yep.
It went from a thriving, great place to be to a shithole, gangs, and then now you have to be filthy rich to live in Asbury Park.
Well, the gays moved in and cleaned it all up.
They did. They're
they got the old houses. I'm telling you, they get the old houses. They fix them up, and it's very nice.
I actually did my first huge comedy special in 2006 at the Paramount Theater in Asbury Park.
Right on the boardwalk.
And we got the theater deal because it was condemned. And nobody shot in there anymore or did anything in there. It was condemned. Before that, they were showing porn movies.
Yeah, that's too funny.
And I go in there with a stupid idea that I would be the comedic version of Bruce Springsteen.
Excellent.
And we were hoping we'd get a couple hundred people to come and watch the show. And oddly enough, we got 1,700.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I remember
awesome.
the fire marshal saying to me, "Who are you?" Like, Some guy took a big chance.
That's great.
Let's roll.
That's
But anyway,
really-
so these are great places. And if you guys look up on the internet, Asbury Park music scene, you're going to see some legendary stuff. And it's, of course, everybody says Bruce Springsteen, but there's so many.
Southside
Even Count
Johnny
Basie.
started there. Count Basie, yeah, Red Bank. Southside Johnny. But I'll tell you who put Stone Pony on the map was really Little Steven Van Zandt and Southside Johnny. Yeah, that whole band was like, Bruce was involved with that whole thing. But back in the 80s, I thought it was 70s, back in the early 80s, there was a club called the Fast Lane, which is about 3-4 blocks from the Stone Pony. Okay, and it was next to talk about movie theaters. It was next to an X-rated theater. My buddy was the projectionist. We used to go up there and throw stuff down on the guys in the seats, playing with themselves.
Stop playing with yourself. Here's some popcorn. Pick the popcorn. Dude, that's disgusting.
So my girlfriend used to work at Stone Pony and the Fast Lane on Sunday. So on Sunday, I would go to the Fast Lane, hang out at her bar. There was a band playing. The band was called Jon Bon Jovi and the Wild Ones, okay? So I'm sitting at the bar, I didn't know who he was, and all of a sudden he gets done with one of his sets, he comes over to me because he's like 6 years younger. And he's like, "You're Wayne from the Rock Kids. Oh my God, I saw you open up for Aerosmith. You're great." He was like flaunting all over me. Now, long story short, back in 1982, Bruce Springsteen on a Sunday night would make an appearance at the Stone Pony almost every single Sunday and jump on stage and start playing. As soon as he did that, it was like somebody went to the Fast Lane and went, "Springsteen's at the Pony, fire!" And they all ran out. And Jon Bon Jovi standing on stage playing to nobody. I mean, nobody. So the owner would go, "Forget it, just call it a night." So me and him and Dave Bryan, the keyboard player, would walk to the Stone Pony and see Bruce every Sunday for the whole summer of like '82. And I became fast, quick friends with the guy. And I stayed with, I watched his career from the time he had no record deal. He used to call me like, "Wayne, what do I do?" Yeah. But then he got to the point where I was here and he was way up here. So, but it was like 17 years. It was a lot of cool stuff went down with that.
Jon Bon Jovi has a brother, and his brother's name is Matt. Mm-hmm. And the funniest thing is, I don't even remember, maybe 20 years ago, I'm performing at the Comedy Store in Los Angeles, and the manager comes over to me and he says, "I'm from the Jersey Shore too." And I says, "Oh, no kidding. What's your name?" He goes, "Matt Bon Jovi." And I go, "You got a brother?" And he goes, "Yeah, it's my brother." And I go, "Dude, what the fuck are you doing working here?" He was the manager, Matt Bon Jovi. And then he had either a cousin or John had another brother. And he used to go there all the time. I think he was trying to become a film director.
He had Tony.
Tony, that's his brother?
Yeah.
That's the guy.
Yeah.
Tony and Matt, they were there all the time.
Really?
I remember saying, "Guys, your brother's famous. What the fuck you doing here?"
Yeah, yeah.
Shouldn't you be out there with your brother?
He's famous, but he's...
Different?
Yeah, he's a tough business guy, if you know what I'm saying. He ain't...
Well, good for him.
Yeah, no, I mean, I give him all the credit in the world. I'll tell you a quick funny story. He calls me up one day. This is when he was after he was super famous, and he's like, "You want to go to Boston?" I'm like, "Okay." So I go to get in the car. He comes over. We go to Lair Airport. I walk on the tarmac and I see the Bon Jovi jet. I go, "Oh, here we go!" Like I'm going on something. My whole dream in my whole life was to have that, and I'm going, but it ain't me. But I'm going.
Oh, I understand that. I understand that. He actually has a rest stop on the Parkway.
He does.
I want a rest stop.
My car broke down and I had to pull in there. I'm like, "Son of a bitch."
Yeah.
It's like, so anyway, I go on the plane. We fly to the concert. He does the concert. I'm back on the plane. It was like, I think it was a G5. Like it's like a jet, but you can walk in it, but it's not real big. But they had these little curtains in the back. So I'm like, we was playing cards with the guys in the front. I go, "Where'd John go?" He goes, "He's in the back." So I go to the back. I pull the curtain back and my hand to God, he was sitting like we are, with his manager, and they had a pile of cash. It was like up to here. And he's going like, "Another concert, another 80 grand in t-shirt sales." So he knew from a very young age to keep his own merch money. And that's what he did. He was a really good businessman.
Well, hey, they're icons. Mm-hmm. Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band.
Yep.
Of course, I ended up becoming friends with guys in the E Street Band because of being a comedian and hosting shows.
Excellent.
So many years ago, when I was chosen to host Light of Day, which is a music festival for Parkinson's, down on the Jersey Shore, I was on stage at, not the Fast Lane, but a bowling alley.
Yeah, it was Asbury Lanes.
Asbury Lanes.
Yeah.
They had bands playing in there.
Yeah.
And when I was hosting...
Nice place.
Yeah, you don't have to bowl. You just listen to the band in front of the
It's
pins.
weird, right? They got bowling alley.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And in fact, I have a bowling pin. I take everything from wherever I go. I got to take a remlick. A remlick, is that the word? Something that reminds me.
Yeah.
So I took a bowling pin from.
That's great.
Yeah, and when I was hosting a show, I introduced many different bands. Not Bruce Springsteen. He was supposed to one night, and he didn't show.
Pop up, yeah.
So from the Fast Lane to a couple other theaters, and then the Paramount.
Right.
So one night I met Vinny Mad Dog Lopez.
Oh yeah, I know Vinny.
And I started talking to him, and he said to me, I was the original drummer for Bruce Springsteen, and this, that, and the other thing. And fast forward, he and I were on a talk show in New York City.
No kidding.
Not together. He happened to be on the show, and I was a guest on the show. And I remember just laughing and joking. We're so close right now, it ain't even funny. We're still friends to this day.
That's great. Good
he
guy.
comes to all my shows. He's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yep.
I just wonder what would that be like, because he could have been with them all this time.
Well, that's like, what's the guy's name from the Beatles that got kicked out?
Pete Best.
Imagine being him.
Yeah.
It's like same Vinny's got to go through the same thing.
Well, at least Vinny had 3 albums.
Yeah, and plus he's still friends with those guys, isn't
Yes.
he? Okay.
And, he is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But
yeah, that's cool.
There's so many different, I don't know what you would call it. To be in show business, you're a day late. What is it called? A dollar short. And a day late.
Yep.
You were just about to be famous. You were famous. Then you're not famous anymore. You're a genius on a Monday. Friday, everybody forgot you. It's a mind fuck.
It is a mind fuck.
It's a mind fuck. And sometimes you wonder in your heart, because I know that I do, why do I keep doing this? But then success comes your way.
Even if it's only a crumb.
Yeah. You just can't let it go.
I know.
Plus performing, I mean, I'm sure you could say the same thing, is addicting.
It is.
You're high as a kite. It's the best drug you've ever done.
It's better than sex, man.
Oh, yes. Sex? Who needs that when you can perform in front of 1,000 people?
It's true. It's true.
And the endorphins that you get,
Yep.
Plus, eventually you will be around your peers somewhere, somehow.
Yeah.
So I never thought I'd be the host of Light of Day. And now here I am hosting it, and I'm meeting all these rock and rollers.
Yeah.
And since I have a career, I don't need the extra career, so I wouldn't really say much.
Right.
And then they'd say to me, hey, man, I really like what you do.
Yeah.
I mean, so just this week I was opening for a guy who does a Frank Sinatra show, and I feel like I'm part of the Rat Pack, yet we all know the same people. And I toured with Dean Martin's daughter, Dina.
Really?
So I kind of was part of the Rat Pack anyway.
That's very cool.
However, it wasn't something I set out to do. I just wanted to be an actor.
Yeah, you're telling me.
But I'm doing this, so why not go for it? So it's the same thing with you.
Yeah.
It's never over. You never know what's going to happen in your world of being in entertainment, or let's say music. I always say entertainment because
entertainment is a good way of doing it.
You're a musician, but if somebody said, hey, we're making this movie, you'd be an actor.
I'm there. I've done a little bit of acting.
You're in the entertainment
Not as much as you,
business.
but I did a little bit. I love it. I love acting. I just can't do good. I'm more of a background guy.
Yeah. You're one of the guys that don't say nothing.
I could do. Hey, real quick story about acting. Background, real quick. I was on a set of. Remember the movie The Irishman?
Of course.
Okay, I'm on the set of The Irishman. There's 300 background people, right? And I'm one of them. And I'm looking around. They did a scene where Joe Colombo gets murdered. I don't know if you remember that scene. It was the only scene in the whole movie that's in slow motion. Anyway, he gets murdered. But it's a 200 people. They recreated an Italian festival, and we're outside. So I look where the cameras were, and I'm making my way through the crowd. Like I'm going to get where the cameras are. I'm going to get where the cameras are. And I finally got next to this dude who was actually playing Joe Colombo. He was getting killed. His name was Dave. He was Bobby De Niro's body double. And he was telling me that he always gets a part in a movie when Bobby's in it because he hooks him up. Anyway, long story short, they do the scene. The guy comes out, bang, 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 3 times. I'm right next to him, so I got to go like this, like, So all of a sudden, about right where your drum kit is over here, it's a tent, and it was Scorsese, and he's in the tent. He comes out of the tent, and he's walking towards me, and I'm thinking he's going to talk to Dave. He comes right up to me, and he goes, I like your enthusiasm, but your eyes are just like, they're too big. He goes, they're too big. You got to keep your eyeballs from getting big. He goes, maybe if you just say, fuck, that might work. And I go, yes, sir. And he turned around, and he walked away. And I just went, what just happened? And then they shot the scene again. I went, fuck, like that. And I said to my girlfriend at the time, I said, watch, I'm going to be in this movie. And sure enough, in that scene, if you look at that scene, everybody, I'm like half the screen is my face. That's my
Isn't that great?
My 10 seconds of fame in the movie business. So,
well, that's cool.
yeah, right? I got directed by Scorsese, man.
Here's a trivia question, and I don't know why I'm thinking about this, but supposedly Bruce Springsteen was fans of Southside Johnny.
Yep.
I've seen Southside Johnny up close and personal many different times. In fact, I opened for the band at a fundraiser. Should maybe get him on the podcast. I don't know him that way. I was doing a show, of course, Light of Day. I met Clarence Clements' son, Nick, who just called me the other day and asked me if I wanted to do a charity. You think about his career. Yeah. I mean, it's his son, it's Nick, but I believe his cousin's in the band, right?
There's two.
Something like
there's
that.
There's another one. Is it a son? Nick is in one, and there's another one. He plays guitar. Does Nick play sax?
No.
He's a guitar player?
I don't know what he plays.
Oh, okay.
He's a singer.
There's two, I think it's two sons and a cousin that play with Clemens. Last name's Clemens. Oh, Terrence Clemens? Is that another one?
I don't even know.
I'm not sure.
But
whatever.
the point I was trying to make is there was a band that they supposedly admired, had a hit song. But I don't know if it was a hit song other than in the state of New Jersey. I'm pretty sure it was called the Garden State Parkway Boogie.
Oh, yeah. I remember that song.
Garden
State Parkway Boogie. It was a band called Home.
Oh, fuck, that's Home?
Yeah, Home. Garden State Parkway
They
Boogie.
still play, these guys.
Yeah, yeah.
They're probably 100 years old.
They are.
They play at the club that they own called DJs in Belmont.
Yeah, oh my God.
Home did the Garden State Parkway.
Yeah.
Doing the boogie. The Garden State Parkway Boogie. Yeah. I remember it being in the car, in IROC, 1986.
Yeah.
Driving from North Jersey down to the Jersey Shore, and you had that up cranking loud. And
That's too funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Home did that song.
That's their original
Almost
hit.
Positive. I could, 1% maybe I'm wrong. But
all right, everybody, look it up.
Check it out.
You friends with those guys?
Google it. There was one guy, I'm not sure if he was in, I think he was in Home. Harry, this guy named Harry, and another guy, Harry and Joel. I think Joel was in Home. I met him back in the 80s when I was a Stone Pony guy. I was on the Stone Pony baseball team, so I knew all those people down there. It was a big family. It was amazing. It was like a whole nother scene.
The Stone Pony probably has at least 3 different owners since then.
Yeah.
And I think it's even owned by the state. I could be wrong.
I think somebody might have said something to me about that they just maybe sold it. I'm not sure. But
Stone Pony, legendary rock and roll clubs. There was even a dance club called Xanadu.
I know. Do you know who managed Xanadu?
No, you.
Nope. Diamond Dallas Page.
Oh, Diamond Dallas.
Yep, Diamond Dallas Page. Oh, you don't know this? He's a wrestler. He was a big time wrestler.
Oh, really?
But he managed, before he wrestled, his name was, I forget his first name, last name was Page. But he managed Xanadu. And we used to go in there. That was back in the day when I was hanging around. I was going to Xanadu. But then he became this real famous wrestler. He even had his own little doll, the wrestling doll. He was in WWE, I think, at the time.
Remember the dolls?
Yeah.
Remember Stretch Armstrong?
I do.
He did anything to fuck him up.
Yeah.
Pull him apart.
Talking about G.I. Joe.
You're right, the G.I. Joe joke.
Yeah.
There's Xanadu, and then there was, of course, the Stone Pony, and there's a hotel called the Empress. And the Empress Hotel
still there.
Is a gay hotel.
Yep.
I guess. You can still stay there. I don't even know.
Yeah, it is. Yep. So.
There was the Metropolitan Hotel, which was from the late 1700s. It's no longer there.
Uh-huh.
And then there's a hotel down there called the Berkeley Carteret.
Still there. Yeah.
Which housed famous people. And there was a time where, who's the man in black? He used to stay there.
Oh, you mean Eddie Murphy? No, not Eddie Murphy. the black man in black or the white man in black?
No, the man in black. He was a rock and roller.
Oh.
From the South. That was the nickname, the man in black. What am I thinking?
Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash. Johnny Cash used to stay there. Used to be $75
Ring
a night.
of Fire.
Now you got $400 a night.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, the Ring of Fire.
Do you know, speaking of Berkeley Carteret, one night I took back to his room I was really good friends with Dorothea Bon Jovi. So when John would go on tour, she would call me up and say, "Hey, Wayne, you want to go see Sam Kinison?" And I'm going, "Yeah, I'll go see Sam Kinison."
Sam.
You remember him?
Yeah.
So I went to see Sam Kinison at a place called Rascals South. It was on Route 35, right?
Eatontown. That's where I started.
Really? That's too funny. So
the good old days.
Yeah, right. And after the show, Dorothea goes, "Let's all go back to our house." So it's me and Dorothea, Sam Kinison. I can't remember the other comedian guy's name. He wore a hat, a real heavy dude. He was his right-hand guy at the time. Anyway, long story short, I spent all night thinking about the basement. We were in Jon Bon Jovi's basement doing blow. And just not Dorothea. I gotta say she never did it, and I'm not proud of what I did. But you would see Sam Kinison. It's like, and at the it was like 6 o'clock in the morning, and I go, I live in Bradley Beach. You need a ride? He goes, "Yeah, I'm at the Berkeley Carteret." So drove him home, and never saw him again. But that was my rub with him.
Sam Kinison. Wow, him, Andrew Dice Clay, always used to be at Rascals on Route 35.
He was Dice Clay played Rascals too.
Oh yeah,
really?
First time I played Rascals in West Orange, I got the gig because of Andrew Dice Clay in Los Angeles. Had to go all the way to California to come all the way back to New Jersey
to get a gig.
All right, so tell us about your relationship though with Jon Bon Jovi. Now you say it's that you guys are not buddies anymore. You don't call each other anymore.
No, I haven't seen him in like 20 years.
20 years.
Yeah,
wow.
I don't even know what happened, to be perfectly honest. I still
Was it a falling out, or you guys just stopped talking?
I think I don't know whether it was a falling out or not, but I was with him for, I guess, almost 17 years. I was, all through his, before he got famous and during, when he was famous, I was like, Christmas Eve at his house and this and that and the other thing. But John would have a thing that whenever he didn't want to deal with anybody, like especially like, well, you must get this a lot from people that you kind of didn't know, but they're like, "Hey man, can you help me? Hey man, can you do this?" And you're nice to them. And then what John used to do is as soon as they would leave, he would change his phone number and that would be it, So I would always get a call from the office saying, "Did John change his number?" Or John would call me and say, "My new number is this." Well, one day out of the clear blue sky, he changed the number. I said, "No big deal." Never heard back from the office, never heard back from Dorothea, never heard back from John. The last time I saw him was at Dorothea, his wife's father's funeral. And that was the last time I saw him. And to this day, I still don't know why. I ran into a couple of people through the grapevine. The rumor had it that maybe he thought that me and Dorothea was something going on, which there wasn't. So, but other than that, I don't know what happened. But it was, it was fun hanging out with him. It was like, because of my association, I'm sure you know what this is like, people thought that I was being treated like a rock star because I was so close to him. Like I would go to restaurants. It's on me. Bring John next time, okay? I bring John one time. This is a funny story. A friend of mine opens up a restaurant. I bring John, have dinner. Oh, it was like 6 of us or 7 of us. The bill was $600. I get a call the next morning. He's like, "Wayne, was the dinner okay?" My buddy. "Yeah." "Was the service okay?" "Yeah." He goes, $600 bill. The guy leaves $20. I go, "What? He left $20? Are you kidding me on a $600 bill?" He goes, "Yeah, what the fuck?" So I had to go back and then I had to tell John, you got to leave more than $20 on
Yeah, I'll say.
But, he came from, Sayreville. He didn't have a lot of money ever. He lived at his mother's house till I think he was till he got famous almost. And then he got his own place. So, cut him a break here and there. But
were you friends with the other guys in the band?
Yeah. I knew everybody in the band. I knew Richie was really cool, and David Bryan. I ran into David a couple times, and I kept asking, "Whatever happened to me and Johnny?" He goes, "You know what, Wayne?" He goes, "I don't know. I play my keyboards, I get my check, and I go home." So I still don't know to this day what really happened. But back in when it was 86, I think, was the big Slippery When Wet record. That was when they became super famous. And they were as famous. I mean, back then, I think it was 3 big rock stars in the world. It was Michael Jackson back then. It was Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA, that record. And it was Bon Jovi, Slippery When Wet. Those were the 3 biggest. And that was when I was really close friends with him the whole time. I had a lot of, look, it was like living your dream, but it ain't you. It's frustrating.
Did you ever play with him?
Oh yeah, on stage all the time. Yeah, he would not with Bon Jovi when they were in front of like 50,000 people, but whenever he was home, and we did a convention hall together. one time they called us up. They were doing a charity in Convention Hall, and he was like, "I'll only do it if you come on stage and do it with me." So I used to teach him how to play the harmonica, so we'd play harmonica a lot together and stuff. And then there's a good story about Springsteen. He loved Bruce Springsteen. And he wanted to go on stage with Bruce Springsteen. This is when he was famous, but he never met Bruce before. And he goes, "Wayne," he goes, "Bruce is going to be at the Pony on Sunday. Can you get me on stage with him, you think?" So I knew the owner. So I called the owner up. His name was Butch. I said, "Butch, John wants to be on stage." "Yeah, bring him around the side door." 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm doing this real fast. 1 o'clock in the morning, we go. He comes to pick me up. We go to the Stone Pony. We open the door. Place is packed. Bruce is on stage playing. People are going nuts. So I said, "Come on." We get to the side of the stage, and all of a sudden, Bruce goes, "Bam!" He goes, "Thank you." And I go to John. I push him on the stage. Go now, go. He gets on the stage, and then Bruce goes, "Good night." And he puts his mic down, turns around, walks right by John, not even looking at him. Like walks, and the whole band just walk right by him. Boom, boom, boom. And John's standing there like a deer in the headlights. Like, "What?" I go, "Get off the stage, get off the stage." So we get off the stage. We go to the back room. I get into the room with Bruce. I knew Bruce through Patty, and Patty's brother was my keyboard player. Mike Scalfa was my keyboard player. So I knew Bruce through him. And I knew Butch, the owner. So I said, "Bruce, it's Jon Bon Jovi's out there." He goes, "Oh, really? I would like to meet him." So I said, "Come on in." So they met. And the owner goes, "You got time? You want to do another one?" So I go to the band in the back. It was Cats on a Smooth Surface. I remember the band. I said, "Is it okay if you guys want to go back out?" They go, yeah, we'll go back out. So we all went back out, and they went on stage, and then John goes like this to me. He goes, "Come on." So I hopped on stage. So it was Springsteen, Jon Bon Jovi, and me, and we did a couple songs together.
It's legendary.
That's my story.
That's legendary. Speaking of story, you wrote a book.
I did.
I'm going to show you guys what the book looks like, and he's going to tell us a little bit about it. This book is called The Undiscovered Showman, A True Story of Being Almost Famous by Wayne B. Olivieri.
Yep.
Looks pretty badass.
There you go.
There he is with his hat on.
Yeah.
And some really cool big hair days.
That's just John and me.
Look at that.
Yep.
Can you see? I get it in there.
That was at, where was that? That was Electric Ladyland Recording Studios. We're doing some.
Check that out, recording. Man. Look at you guys.
Yeah.
So skinny.
Yeah, I know, right?
Long hair. Well, you still got your hair.
Well, it's getting thinner.
Oh, I know Danny Coleman, Rock on Radio. He's a radio personality. So you got some great little testimonials from some famous people on the back.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of great pictures in the book itself. It's great to see pictures of people from back in the day, especially the 80s.
I was trying to be an Italian mobster in that movie.
These pictures of rock and rollers when they were wearing bandanas and they were skinny as hell and looked like they were all coked up. And
skinny is the word.
There's Gary Dolina right there.
That's right.
And this looks really, really great. So tell us all about the book.
Well, you know, because of my association with John and just the luck of just like, well, you know, you hanging out with people, you got a lot of cool stories. I used to tell stories all the time, and people would say, "You should write a book. You should write a book. You should write a book." So I said, "You know what? I'll write a book of my stories." So it's hard to remember everything, you know, because of all the brain cells that were killed back in the days. You know, it's really tough to remember shit. But it took me 20 years to put that thing together, on and off, you know, because I got married, I had a daughter, and you know, I put the thing on the shelf for like 6, 7, 10 years and took it back down and wrote it up again. But I decided to write the book only because not only the stories are cool, but it's kind of a book for people that never went through what we went through. They don't understand. You touched on it before. They don't understand what you go through from the bottom, climbing that ladder, going up, and all the things you got to do, and all the lies you got to take, and all the people that tell you they're going to do something and they never do it. How many knives you stick in your back, you know? So the book was really a book of advice almost to any young kids coming up the ladders trying to do what we did. You know what I mean? There's a lot of shit in there about, you know, about trusting people, about, you know, drugs, about, you know, management and all that other crap. So it's kind of a advice book along the way too.
It's really, really cool. There's a lot of great pictures in here. I'm looking through all the pictures right now. I haven't had a chance to cover the book. I'm definitely going to cover it, of course, and I'd like to see what it's all about. I mean, I love pictures. I love watching to a picture book. I'd like to write my own book someday, and I probably will. Show business is nuts.
Yeah.
You know, of course, there's the rewards. But sometimes you have to ask yourself a question: is the reward worth the shit that you're going to go through? Because even if you're the most talented performer, the most talented guitar player, you can be overlooked.
Yep.
It's a lot of luck, a lot of chance.
That's exactly what the point of the book is.
Yeah.
Just what you said. Exactly. Like, but the motto is just what you said. Just because you're talented doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be famous. And just because you're famous doesn't necessarily mean you're that talented. Just happen to be in the right universal situation at the time. And you got to have it, like you said, you got to have it here. You can't just give up at the first disappointment. You got to get back on the horse. And how many horses have we gotten back up on?
Millions of horses.
That's right. That's the truth.
But then you got to ask yourself the question: what is success?
Yeah.
Did you earn a living as a singer?
Yeah.
Because that's success right there.
Yep.
There's a lot of different people who go out there and sing and earn a living as a singer who just are not famous.
Respect that, man.
And then you get on stage and you're doing a great job, and somebody will say to you, "You're so good. I wonder how come you're not famous." Don't say that.
How many times?
Just say you enjoyed the entertainer.
Yeah.
Because recently, maybe you know this too, I entertain on cruise ships.
Okay.
And there was a band on the cruise ship. It was a collaboration of musicians from many different bands in the 80s. It was called the Legends of Rock and Roll.
Oh, I heard of this.
So one drummer was from White Lion, another one was from White Snake, and the bass player was from, let's say, I don't know, Alice in Chains or something like this. I don't remember specifically. But here's 6 guys from 6 different megastar bands who are collaborating now with each individual's music from back in the day, and they're still earning a living as rock stars.
Yeah.
Now, there's people who are going to go listen to the music and say, I don't even know this music and I don't know who they are. Then there's a guy like me going to walk in a room and go, holy shit, that's so-and-so from, you know.
Yeah.
What are you doing here?
Yeah.
He's like, they're trying to earn a living.
Yeah. Trying to make a buck.
And these guys were actually rivals with each other back in the 80s. Now they're buddies because they realize, you know what, we all need each other now.
Yeah.
And they're playing these great songs. Then you got bands that are tribute bands. And they're a lot younger than us.
Yep.
But they're playing Journey, and they're playing U2, and they're playing Billy Idol.
And they're making a boatload of money.
Yeah, and it's fun because we can't go see those bands.
Yep. The tribute bands are pretty much, I feel bad for kids in bands today because if you're not in a tribute band, I'll give you an example. Back in the Rock Kids days, like late 70s, early 80s, I was making about $100 a gig, which back then was great. We were playing 6 nights a week. I was bringing home $600, $700, $800 a week back then.
Right.
That was great money, right?
Cash.
Right. You know what I make now when I play with a copy band? Same thing, $100.
Really?
It hasn't gone up.
Do you guys from the Rock Kids get together and jam, play, perform?
Oh, actually, I should say Gar, the original Rock Kid with me, my guitar player, is now in my new band called the New Bardos. That's an all-original band. We got a couple albums out.
Oh, yeah?
You can look us up online and stuff.
New Bardot?
Bardos, like Bridget Bardot.
Yeah, sure.
But it's spelled Bardots, Bardots, Bardot. Bardos, the New Bardos. It's funny because Alexa calls us and you go, Alexa, play the New Bardos. She'll say, I don't have that. You go, play the New Bardots. Oh, okay. So
no kidding.
It's Bardos. So Gar's with me.
Screw Alexa.
Yeah. Gar's still with me. So we're doing original stuff. We have working on a new album now. We have a new album. Album came out about 4 months ago. And we do videos. We're on the radio a lot with Little Steven's Underground Garage, a Sirius satellite radio. We get a lot of airplay there.
Little Steven, wasn't he Miami Steve?
Yeah, Miami Steve Van Zandt.
Yeah.
And now he's got that guy. Talk about that guy. He's got everything. He was also on The Sopranos.
Sure.
And he's got a thing called the Underground Garage, which is a huge radio success show that's broadcast all around the world, and it's 24/7. They just did a cruise, I think. But so I'm still playing. And Gar's the only guy from the Rock because my drummer passed away. And then we had a lot of people in and out, like you were saying before. So many people go, hey, man, I'm getting married. You go, okay, we have to look for a new guitar player. No, man, I'm in. I'll stay in. Next thing you know, 6 months later, my wife wants me to get a real job.
Yeah.
I can't stay.
Well, you know what? If you have the time and you have the ingenuity, get the band back together and go out on tour.
Yeah, baby.
Play the Stone Pony. Tell people, hey, you know what? Mike Marino's going to open for us. I'll pack the fucking place.
Excellent.
When we did shows with Vinny Lopez, I had his band open for me.
Really?
Him and the natural winos or whatever he was called, as a goof.
Yeah.
And, I had my audience go, who is this guy? I go, he's a legend.
Excellent.
He's a fucking legend. So let's have music and comedy all in one night. I'm forgetting to mention the name of the place. Another legendary place in Asbury Park, the Wonder Bar.
Oh, yeah, sure. Played there many times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I played a Wonder Bar too as a comedian. It's hilarious.
Excellent.
I don't get paid. I get a hot dog.
Yeah.
Big fat cool one. Nice hot dog with some French fries. Come on, let's get the fuck out of here. I'm starving.
I'm hungry too.
Tell everybody where they can get this book.
The book is on Amazon and wherever other books are sold. Amazon.com. You can get it on Amazon. You can go to my website, WayneOlivieri.com, or you can go to New Bardot's Facebook page and check us out. Amazon is the best place to get it. Just
Everything is on Amazon. You can get
Everything's
this
on
book.
Amazon.
Read this book, folks, before it becomes a major movie, and I play the role of Wayne Olivieri.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Excellent.
I'm just gonna have to get a wig.
We're gonna play. I'm gonna get the New Bardot's on you. We're gonna do
The New Bardot's.
We'll do the Stone Pony. I'll get us a gig.
And let me tell you something, man. I'm ready to go and play. I love that stuff.
Cool.
And I never get to really sing because I can't sing, but I like being part of all of that
You
stuff.
can do harmony, isn't
Yeah.
it? We can turn your mic off. Or just put a tape on. It don't matter.
Hey, guy Marino, he was fantastic. What did he say? I don't know. Couldn't hear him.
Turn
Listen, we got to get going. I want to
Okay.
thank my guest, Wayne Olivieri, for coming down the basement. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
joining
Wayne.
us. Guys, check out the book. You can get it wherever books are sold, especially on Amazon. And you can go to his new Facebook page and follow. We got to get going. I want to thank my producer, Tatiana Blue Shell, for always making sure we got a great guest. Come down the basement. We put it out every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock exclusively on my YouTube channel, which is Mike Marino Live here on YouTube. You could also listen to us on Italian American Radio out of New York City. And, of course, all your favorite podcast applications. Let's make America Italian again. You guys know the motto. You don't know nothing, you don't see nothing, you don't say nothing. How do I end every single one of my podcasts by saying the same thing along with my special guest? Don't. You ready? Here we go. Did you forget it? Don't take no shit from nobody.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah. Don't take no shit from nobody.
Hey folks, thanks for watching live from my mother's basement. I hope you enjoyed the show. And if you did, hit the word like and leave me a really cool comment. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss any of the future episodes and you can watch some of the funniest videos on the internet. You can also listen to the show on Spotify or your favorite podcast app.